Greetings, royal family. Let's just get right into it. We have a lot to cover with this Queen Sugar episode. This might be a little long, so grab a snack, get yourself comfortable, pause the video if you need to pause it, get you a snack, fold your clothes, do what you gotta do, and let's get into it. I had to take notes on my other phone. Like, this is how much stuff I had to kind of like observe. I want to do a little bit of character analysis with this too, along with giving a recap of the episode. So hopefully you guys won't mind. Tell me what you think of the character analysis. Of course, always share your opinion. If you are new and this is the first time that you are seeing my beautiful brown face, my name is Royal B, and this is the Royal Family. Sit back, relax, check out my content. Be sure to comment what you think, what your thoughts are. I'm going to be asking a lot of questions because there were some things that I was a little confused about, but you always help me out, Royal Family, and I appreciate that. I enjoy my Queen Sugar review the most on my channel because I get a lot of interaction with you guys, and I love it. I love interacting with you in the comments. All right. Now that I've rambled for almost 2 minutes, let's get right into it. So the episode opens up with Nova having a dream that she is in the front yard and she is reading a book, and you hear the voice of her mother calling her in, telling her, it's time to eat or whatever it is. And Nova's adult self is standing on the porch watching her child self, or her younger self, swing on the swing. And younger Nova walks up to older Nova and says, "Nova, are you okay? Are you okay, Nova?" Nova wakes up out of her dream and she records, she has a tape recorder and she records basically what the dream is about. And she said this is about the third time that she dreamt that she's seen her mother. And it's funny because I do that. I don't record it, but I get up and whenever I have dreams, like just weird dreams or just dreams of any sort, what I do is I get myself into the habit of writing it down or typing it in my phone, in my notepad. So, and then I'll go back later on and evaluate it, or I'll ask my grandmother, like, what does this mean? So on and so forth. So I thought that was real cool because that's like, hey, I do something similar. What that means, what it is that her mother is trying to tell her, we don't know, but I'm sure we will definitely find out. So moving along, Ralph Angel and Ralph Angel shows up to take Blue to school, right? The next scene. And Blue opens the door. Ra is like, what you doing answering the door? And he just says, Mom said I can open it if it's you. And Ralph Angel suspects that there's something going on with Darla, because usually Darla is the one that kind of gets him up and gets him situated and ready for school. So Blue is just so proud, just like little kids are. They're so cute. He's so adorable. He's like, I got myself ready all by myself, So that's like a little milestone and achievement for him. Ralph Angel's looking toward the bedroom, but he doesn't enter the bedroom. And he said, hold on, let me text your mama real quick. And apparently we know, that Darla is having a hard time digesting this book and her secrets being out and things of her past coming to the surface. So remember now, Darla is a recovering drug addict. So something like this emotional tailspin can probably trigger a relapse. But Darla is really handling this well. And I'm glad that we get to see that little bit of a struggle and, a small triumph as well. So kudos to you. We see Darla, saying a little prayer in the show, in this episode, and I thought that was great. You know what I mean? I really thought that showed strength. It showed coping mechanisms. It showed the fight that she has to fight, to maintain her sobriety. And, this was a huge trigger because emotionally, this kind of sent her, her head spinning because she was totally not expecting this. So just to see her praying, her boyfriend, or the guy that she's dating, she sent him the voicemail and she's just like in bed. And again, someone struggling with addiction, things like this can really send them off the deep end and cause them to relapse. But she decided to use the skills that she learned in rehab, apparently, and she, recited her positive affirmations, and she prayed and asked God for the strength and things like that. And you see her just fling the book on the ground. And I thought that was a powerful statement, because it's just showing, like, not even this can cause me to relapse. And it's really good to see that Darla is taking her sobriety extremely seriously, and she's fighting the good fight. So I enjoyed that. I definitely enjoyed that. So next up, Remy comes to the diner, right? Remy is the former lover of Charley and Nova, a drama, right? So we see Remy walk into the diner, and, Aunt Vi is shocked. Prosper, he was on his way out. Prosper is shocked, and Hollywood is like overjoyed, and it was a warm greeting. But you see that, like, Remy has like this heavy burden that he's carrying. He just looks very like defeated, right? Is that a good word? Let me know what you think. Like, he just seems like he's so defeated. And he did eventually sit down. Everyone's like, oh, where you been? Because he's been MIA for quite some time. And he did sit down with Hollywood, and Hollywood said to him, he said to Hollywood, he's just got a lot going on, and he decided to remove himself from everyone, kind of isolate himself. And people tend to isolate themselves when they're going through whatever it is that they're going through. It's one of the symptoms of depression, but sometimes that's a coping mechanism for a lot of people. They just isolate themselves so they can kind of gather their thoughts and gather their, emotions and whatever is troubling them. And sometimes people tend to face things alone. They may not know how to ask for help. They may not feel that they need help. So he's been MIA. And, he just basically expressed to Hollywood that, St. Joe's is where his wife, it reminds him so much of his wife. His wife passed away years ago, and he's just been having a hard time, like, connecting with people. And he said he thought that Charley was going to be the one, and it didn't work out, and then he fell in love with Nova, and Nova gave him hope. And yeah, although it was very messy, it confused him a lot. You know what I mean? It confused him, and maybe he wasn't really ready to move on like he thought he was, right? So Hollywood says to him, hey, I always thought that you and Nova between me and you, I always thought that you and Nova made sense. You both smart as heck, and you both love your community. I think it could work. Unbeknownst to Remy, as far as we can see, he doesn't even realize, like, the melee that's going on with Nova, the rest of the family, and this book. I wonder if do you think he knows about the book, and maybe that's why he's hightailing it out of here? What do you guys think? Like, I think Charley read the entire book. She didn't mention anything about Remy. I think Aunt Vi read the entire book. She didn't mention anything about Remy. But then again, maybe she was just so, like, shell-shocked at the fact that Nova brought up her past that she didn't care about anybody else. But do you think that Remy knows about the book? Like, let me know what you think, Royal Family. I find that interesting. I wonder if he knows about the book and that's why he's hightailing it out of town. One of the reasons why he's leaving St. Joe's. Or he's just been, like, really secluded and, like, under a rock that he doesn't even know about Nova's book. But yeah, so, Hollywood just basically told him, yeah, you're a good brother. And what I liked, again, a little bit of character analysis here and there. I'm sprinkling this throughout the video. I love the fact that two Black men were able to sit down and converse about their feelings, because Remy was being very transparent with Hollywood, and Hollywood wasn't judging him. Hollywood's character, I think, is like, can he do no wrong? He's just so perfect. But you see two men sitting down talking, and they're being transparent with one another, and Remy is not afraid to express his feelings to his brother. It's Hollywood. Like, he feels comfortable. And I think that that's good. And I think that that's great representation of masculinity. And it's not toxic masculinity. And I just think that that is a really good visual. Like, I think that representation was extremely necessary, and it was well done. It was done with class. It was done very well. So Remy's basically like, leaving St. Joe's, and he's going to find himself and step out of, I guess, all the memories that he has with his his wife who passed away, Charley, Nova. He's just gonna go and stand on his own and find himself. And Hollywood just wished him all the best. Like, they dapped it up. He showed him so much love. Aunt Vi packed him a little to-go food, and she told him, hey, listen, don't be a stranger. You know what I mean? Ernest loved you. We love you. You're like family. You know what I mean? And what a way to be sent off, to know that he always has the support of, Aunt Vi, Hollywood, back home, So we wish Remy luck, and that'll be interesting to see if he pops up again. Maybe not, you know what I mean? Maybe this is it for his character. But he was good. I enjoyed him. And he did tell Hollywood to tell both Charley and Nova that he said, goodbye. Not see you later, but goodbye. But little does he know, Hollywood has no communication with Nova whatsoever. Next scene, oh God, Ding Dong Davis. Like, he is so annoying, Royal Family. Like, is it just me? He really is like a big dummy, a big baby. He's so aggravating. I'm going to do a little bit of character analysis on him as well. So Davis is attempting, to utilize Charley's services once again, her professionalism, her cutthroat behavior. He calls Charley. Charley's sitting at home, minding her business in her little office. And Davis, crybaby Davis, calls, he FaceTimes Charley, sorry. He FaceTimes Charley. Charley's on the computer with him, and he's like, oh my God, Charley, I need your help. You know what I mean? And because of Nova's book, because of the information in Nova's book, it is causing Davis to have a hard time with his new employer. Remember, he took the job as a head coach of whatever, and there were people protesting outside of his new place of employment, and he's all freaking out, you know what I mean, because he doesn't want to get fired, and he doesn't want to reopen these old, wounds or whatnot. Charley is real cool as a cucumber, and I love it. She wasn't angry. She wasn't rabid. She wasn't annoyed. That's how you know that she is truly over Davis, because before, rightfully so, she was barking at Davis, and she was just tight-lipped and annoyed. She said to Davis, look, like, you're going to call your lawyer. Like, what are you calling me for? Not even taking into consideration what Charley has to deal with. He doesn't even know. He has no idea. He probably doesn't even care. He is so annoying. But anyway, so yeah, you know what I mean? Charley just says to him, look, like, he's like, oh, please, can we meet up, Charley's like, I don't want to be seen with you in public. And I really love that she said that to him, because let me tell you something. That drove the point home. Like, home. I don't want to be seen with you in public. You are like a mess all over the place. And yes, that probably did bruise his ego, but the truth hurts. Like, he understands why Charley doesn't want to be seen with him in public. So she told him to come over, and he's just like, oh, please help me for Micah's sake. Now you care about Mike for Micah's sake. You weren't caring about Micah or thinking about Micah when you were cheating on her, having a whole separate family, having another child, having these parties where all these women were at your disposal and you had money to toss around. You weren't thinking about Micah, but whatever. He's desperate. You can hear the desperation in his voice. And it's like, Charley is going to do whatever it takes for the sake of her family and also to protect her son. She loves her son. They may not be seeing eye to eye right now, but she loves that Micah. And she's like a mama bear, you know what I mean? She protects her cub. She does what she has to do. So I respect her for that. Like, I'm not mad at her. So she just told him, like, look, meet me at the house for lunch, whatever. She closes the laptop, and then Romero is right there. Now, let me tell y'all something. I'm looking at my phone. Sorry, I'm looking down. Let me put it in view so you can see what I'm doing. I don't trust Romero. I don't know if I said that in any of my whatever his name is, Charlie's little man. I don't trust him. You heard it here first. I don't trust him. I don't know if I said this on my previous reviews. I probably did. But tell me if I did. If you saw any of my previous Queen Sugar reviews and I said it before, just comment below and let me know. So I'm going to keep saying it over and over again anyway. But I don't trust him. There's something about that guy. From the time that he asked Charley if she had heard about the migrant workers that were killed, I don't remember if it was a storm or what have you, and Charley kind of like changed the subject. Remember that? He asked that for a specific reason. I don't trust him. And then he went on to say, what did he say? That his mother taught him to see the good in people, blah, blah, blah. And even no matter what it looks like, when you see the good, you know, acknowledge the good, whatever it is that he said. And I could be totally wrong. And if I am, I will eat crow. I'm not above correction. But there is something about him that I do not trust. I don't trust him at all. And I think that he knows about what happened to the migrant workers on the borderline land, like Charley and her family's land. And I think that he was testing her at that moment. This was episodes ago, to see if she would tell the truth. But I just, something about him, man, I don't trust him. Tell me if you feel the same way. Comment below and let me know. All right, so Darla, again, I think I talked about this. Darla's like they pan to the scene where Darla's in the bed. She ignores the phone call from her, the guy that she's dating. She's having a hard time. She says her little serenity prayer. And I just really, like I said before, I thought that was an excellent moment to show how difficult it can be. Like, she's been in bed. She wasn't even able to get up out of bed to help her son get ready for school. So, you know, there are people who are suffering with addiction or suffering with depression, and there are things that can trigger, you know, flare-ups as far as like, you know, relapsing and trigger depression. And I just feel like that was so, that was done with so much class and sophistication to have Darla utilize what it is that because it seemed like she was like chanting what she might have learned in rehab. And it didn't depart from her, you know, and I thought that was very well written, and it was done with class. So Nova Bordelon, you know, I really wanted to save her for last, as I tend to do in my previous reviews, because her character is so easy to analyze and it's fun. Like, you know what I mean? I miss being in school where we used to have to do like character analysis papers and stuff like that. Anyway. So Nova is at her Q&A session for her book. So she's answering questions. It's an intimate setting, just like before. And we are introduced to Dr. Octavia Laurent. All right? And I could not put my finger on it. And I said, this woman sounds like, who is that? And I oftentimes tend to not rely on Google. I try to rely on my own memory, like, you know, I don't know. I like a challenge like that. So it was like trivia. So it didn't dawn on me who she was. And I was like, who is that? So whatever. I'll let you know when I discovered who it was. So she's at her little Q&A session, and, you know, she's basically giving Nova a harsh critique, right? I wrote all of this down. On her book. Now, she's giving her a harsh critique because, remember, this is like an astute doctor. You know, she's past professor label. She's Dr. Octavia Laurent, you know, very prestigious and acclaimed educator, right? So she gets up and she is giving Nova the business, right? She is critiquing her down. You know what I mean? And Nova's up for the challenge. Listen, I don't hate Nova. I like Nova. I always like Nova's character. I'm not happy with her right now, but I like Nova. So she's basically critiquing Nova, honey, Bordelon, because Nova decided to, you know, not use traditional academic methods, you know, to as far as writing this book. You know, there's no empirical data. You know, most people who have these titles in traditional academia. You know what I mean? They thrive off of or they appreciate, you know, data, research, all of that stuff. So Nova is a well-educated woman, you know what I mean? But she decided to kind of like deviate from the normal path, you know what I mean? Remember, this is a memoir, like she stated, like she has firsthand experience, so she didn't need to water down her book with data and things like that. So, you know, this Octavia Laurent is giving her the business, you know what I mean? And they're going toe to toe, and Nova is basically letting her know, look, let's see, what did I say? She's basically letting her know, like, look, this memoir is backed up by firsthand knowledge, and she doesn't fetishize, okay, over traditional academic and data research. This is what I typed. So Dr. Laurent, Octavia Laurent, is basically calling Nova borderline an amateur, and Nova was not feeling that. Now, at this point, I said to myself, who is this woman? Where does she come from? I thought maybe she was a reporter, and typical hater. It didn't, well, obviously it didn't dawn on me until later on in the scene that they knew each other. But the way that, now that I'm looking back, the way that Nova looked at her when Octavia called her an amateur, she held a stare at her, right? I told you I'm getting deep into this episode and going forward. And I said to myself, is that like an old enemy? Like, who is this lady? Or whatever. So, we'll get back to that. So, the next scene is Micah. Okay. Micah visits his friend in jail. And his friend is serving time. You know, his friend showed off his little tattoo that I guess he must have gotten while he was in prison. Now, what I want to know is, who is this friend? Listen, that's why I love y'all, because if I ask a question, you guys will respectfully answer my question and school me. So here is a question. I have plenty, but here's the first one. Who is this young man, and when did he get locked up? Did he get locked up in this season, or did he get locked up in last season? Was he one of the boys that Michael was with when they got into that altercation with those young white boys when they were exchanging insults? Who is this young man, and why did he get locked up? When did he get locked up? School me, royal family. I appreciate it. Like, school me. So they're basically talking, and you can tell that Micah is feeling guilty. Like, he has this energy of like guilt. You know what I mean? And he says to his friend, you know, this wasn't worth it. And his friend just basically stops him and is like, look, you know what I mean? His friend is trying to cope with the fact that he's behind bars for God knows how long. And he said, you can't come visit me in jail and look me in my face and tell me that it wasn't worth it. You understand what I'm saying? That's not going to help me. Now, character analysis alert. This shows, among other things, but in this episode, this shows, yes, Micah has he has good intentions, right? He definitely has good intentions as far as being a right fighter, but this also showcased his immaturity. Yeah, you know, he's tenacious and things like that, but his sense of reality is a little bit skewed, because here it is, you're sitting across from your friend, your peer. He's the same age as you, and he is behind bars. You know, Micah comes from a place of privilege. That's not his fault. You know what I mean? That's just the way his parents chose to rear him. You know what I mean? And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think that he is getting a serious reality check when it comes to, yeah, you know, I want to do what's right. I want to do what's right. Nothing wrong with that. But his immaturity, because he's only 17, his immaturity gets in the way. So this is a reality check. Like, no one is saying that you can't be a right fighter, right? But you have to do it in a way that is productive, not just impulsive. And a lot of teenagers are impulsive. They feel like they're untouchable. Nothing can happen to them. You know what I mean? Well, I was young and I felt the same way when it comes to certain things. I'm like, mortality, jail, getting killed. Please, that was far from my reality. I was young, wild, and free. You understand? So I think we're seeing where a little bit of reality, he's getting a dose of reality at the age of 17, which is good because, Micah, that very well could have been you sitting in jail. Your mother and your friends could have been coming to visit you. So tell me what you think about my little mini analysis, you know? Yeah, like I said, his sense of reality is a little bit skewed, but he is learning. And I feel like he's taking the initiative to learn, but he's got a lot to learn. You know what I mean? So tell me what you think about Micah's character and how they're developing his character. Listen, I don't know, but I just, for some reason, I don't know if the mortality of Micah's character is going to be much longer. Am I tripping? Let me know what you think, because I don't understand what they're trying to do with his character. Like, his character is like, okay, what? Like, huh? Like, you know, I guess I'm not confused, but like, maybe that's the intent of the writers, though. Who knows? You know what I mean? So, oh God. So here goes Davis, right? Back to Davis. You know, God, dumb Davis. So he finally meets up with Charley. They're having lunch back at Charley's house. And, you know, he just his demeanor is like, he's like pouting like a little boy. I don't like it. I don't like it. As he takes a sip of his soda. God, he irks my nerves. Anyway, so he's telling Charley, like, you know, he doesn't like all of this, and it's because of your sister's book, wham, you know what I mean? And Charley is just telling him, like, it's called equal treatment. This was a mic drop moment. She said, this feels uncomfortable to you, Davis, because you're accustomed to privilege. You know what I mean? Had you kept it in your pants, this has nothing to do with Nova. Had you kept it in your pants, none of this would have even been a thing. You know what I mean? And she says to him, reflective moment, she says to him, like, how do you think all of this makes her feel? You know, not me, but the girl who was raped by his friends that he was, you know, dealing with. How do you think this all makes her feel, like, as a woman? You know what I mean? And it's just so good to see that Charley is extremely compassionate for this woman's feelings. Like, you know, seasons before, when she found out the truth, she was very apologetic and compassionate toward the woman, you know, and she didn't stay with Davis, and she didn't make excuses for his behavior. Well, not afterwards. At first, she tried to pay the girl off, but whatever. You know what I mean? She came to her senses, and she realized, like, my God, this is another human being. Like, this is bad. So, oh God, you know, yeah, because you know, he's used to privilege. Now, Davis is so, character analysis alert. Davis is so clueless. I don't know if it's by choice or if it's because he was kind of sheltered. I don't know. He has like a fault. For him to be as old as he is, he's like an adult. He just chooses to remain aloof. That's the best word that I can use. And he's just basically stuck in this fantasy of being like an untouchable basketball player, you know, or athlete superstar, because he's been in the limelight. Any issues, his wife cleaned up. She went to bat for him. He was untouchable. He had money that he can throw here, there, everywhere. And now that reality is setting in, and he's no longer covered by that blanket of privilege, I don't like it. You know, it's just, he's just such a weenie. Like, right? He's such a weenie. And I'm just really annoyed. And he did try to reach in for a kiss with Charley, and she just let him know, look, like, you know, years ago I would have killed to hear something like that, you know what I mean? But now that's no more, you know what I mean? And she's just not feeling him. Like, she just gave him I'm sorry, I'm looking down. She gave him a reality check, and she doesn't look at him like that anymore. And she let him know that, you know what I mean? And she's just like, do you get it? Like, you're still lying. Like, you're still lying to yourself. Like, you had a whole other family that I knew nothing about. And it's just like, ugh. She's totally not attracted to him anymore. You can tell that she does not respect him. However, she doesn't respect him as a mate. But she respects him as Micah's father and nothing more. And she just said, you know, it took us a while to get to this place where we can sit down and have a discussion for Micah's sake. You know what I mean? Let's just leave it at that. Boss. You know what I mean? Boss. And yeah, and she basically just, like I said, gives him a reality check. Now, Ralph Angel, next scene, Ralph Angel and his pretty lady friend, they meet up and they are getting ready to go. Well, they're on a date. So Ralph Angel like prepared a little picnic meal for him and his little pretty lady friend. What is that girl's name? Does anybody know her name? If so, please comment it below. I have no idea what her name is, but she's so sweet. And it's cute because they're both parents. Their kids, I think their kids are the same age. Blue and this lady's daughter are the same age. And it's so cute that they have to go out like on a morning date while the kids are at school. Now that's real life, okay? That is totally real life, and I respect that. So, you know, they're having a little walk in the park, and he had his little picnic basket. He presented her with flowers. So I thought that was cute. I like the fact that Ra is, you know, open to the option of dating again. And his little pretty lady friend, you know what I mean? She seems so smitten over him. And Ralph Angel is fine. So, okay, I know she is getting her life. But, yeah. So, they're having like a little romantic outing. Now, the next scene shows... this part ticked me off. The next scene shows little Blue on the playground with his little friend. They're being all nice, and Blue is mentioning his dad, and this little peasy head boy gonna turn around and say, and I mean that with love, y'all. He didn't know no better. You know what I mean? He's only repeating what it is that he heard his mama on the phone gossiping about. That's why you need to stop gossiping in front of your kids, because they are like tape recorders. They take in information and they repeat everything. So he tells Blue that, you know, my mama said that, you know, your daddy ain't your daddy. And he's like, what? Now, Blue is very innocent. His character is very innocent, but he's very, very, very intelligent. So he's just standing there like, what are you talking about? And then it goes to commercial. Coming back, you know, Ron and his little pretty lady friend, they're continuing their little date. They're talking about Ralph Angel learning how to cook from Aunt Vi, and he's saying that he can burn, and they share their first little kiss. It was so cute. And his phone rings. Now, I like the fact that she said, you know, the sooner that you answer it, the sooner we can, you know, move on to our second kiss. Not, who is that calling you? Some of these shows, man, they perpetuate such negative stereotypes. And I really appreciate these writers and producers and Ava DuVernay for just shedding light on a lot of stuff, right? Anyway, so Rod gets the call about Blue. Something's going on with Blue at school, and, you know, he has to cut his little date short. So, of course, she understands. She's a mother. She has a child as well. So Ra, you know, like I said, cuts the date short. Now, Aunt Vi, this part I liked. Aunt Vi and Hollywood are packing up because they catered a repast, right? So Aunt Vi's, you know, first of all, Aunt Vi's red hair looks okay. You better slay, Aunt Vi. So she is packing up. Hollywood is helping her pack up. And they're just, you know, a little bantering. And he just says to her, what's wrong, baby? I mean, he knows what's wrong. But Hollywood, it's not that he doesn't understand. He may not be able to relate. But he just kind of doesn't know. He wants to take the pain away. But he knows that he can't literally take the pain away. So he says to her, baby, like, you know, what's wrong? And she's like, I don't even know how to express this. And he said, well, try. Hollywood is so freaking easy to talk to, right? Like, gosh, he can do no wrong. So she's sitting down, and then she, you know, they're outside after packing up, and they're in the back of the truck, and they're sitting down, and she just says, you know, she's really struggling with the fact that Jimmy Dale showed back up. And she says, you know, all of that hurt, the way he treated her, all of the abuse that she endured, it's still in her. Now, I think I wrote something about a character analysis. Yes, Aunt Vi. Now, a lot of you probably will be able to relate to this. A lot of you won't. So if not, just, sit back and just learn something real quick. A lot of, this could be other races too, but I'm Black, so I can only speak from my experience. A lot of Black women, I would say, from Aunt Vi's generation, right? Back in the day, it was always accepted, I guess, to you hush, you don't talk about, like physical abuse was something that happened. It was considered normal in some households. Not mine. I'm not speaking from firsthand experience, but secondhand experience. So, a lot of women endured a lot of abuse, a lot of physical abuse, verbal abuse, a lot of shaming, secrets, a lot of things. And because they were embarrassed, they suppressed a lot of these things. You don't talk your family business. You don't leave that man. That man, yeah, he may beat on you, but he works, he brings money in here, he takes care of the family. You don't have to work. And some of you who are of a particular age, like, speak to your grandparents or your great-grandparents if they were alive and ask them if they themselves endured that or if they know someone. Like, that was normal, you know what I mean, back then, or it wasn't strange back then. And Aunt Vi comes from that era where you suppressed a lot of things. And I'm not making excuses. Not everybody did this, just some people. I could be wrong, but this is my little character analysis. And unfortunately, regardless of how it's done, it may have been done in a twisted way. Nova is forcing all that she suppressed and thought that, went away. She's forcing it up to the surface for Aunt Vi to deal with. And Iyanla says it all the time. I say this in all of my Queen Sugar videos. Whatever you can't fix what you don't acknowledge. If something doesn't come up to the surface, how the heck is it going to be healed or repaired or whatever? You know what I'm trying to say? And pain doesn't just go away. You know what I mean? It doesn't, unless it's healed. It doesn't go away. So it's a gift and it's a beautiful thing, and it's also a painful thing because this is forcing Aunt Vi to deal with the trauma that she endured that she probably never really talked about. And she said to Hollywood, that's something that you can't protect me from, unfortunately, because Hollywood is a protector, and Aunt Vi knows that. And instead of Hollywood, and she didn't say it to him in a negative way to try to beat him down or emasculate him, which I love. And Hollywood didn't take any offense to that. You know what he said? Yeah, you know what? I may not be able to take it away from you, but you ain't got to go through it alone. I'll be right here every step of the way. And I feel like, I heard angels singing. Like, don't you just love that darn Hollywood? So, he's not going to let her go through it alone. And Aunt Vi says that she would never forgive Nova for putting her through this. But it makes me wonder, what about when you heal from this, right? What about if, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself because I wanted to tie that into Ralph Angel as well. This video is going to be long, y'all. So if you want to pause me and come back, I totally understand. But I just really have a lot to say because I really love this show. The show is just orchestrated beautifully. All right, let me move on from Aunt Vi. So Nova and Dr. Laurent are sitting with, Octavia is sitting with Octavia's students, because remember, she is a professor, a well-respected professor, and she's sitting with her students and, talking about the book. And then there's this one little feisty student that kind of challenges Nova, and Nova shuts her down. And then Octavia dismisses all of the students. And, this one student that tried to challenge Nova stuck around. And Octavia said, that'll be all, whatever her name was. And Nova's laughing. She was like, I still see you have a type. And then I said to myself, a type? What is she talking about? Okay. Did they have like something going on? And then it hit me, royal family. Freddie from a different world. I said, yo, is that Freddie? I said, that can't be Freddie. Freddie, is that you, girl? Freddie from a different world. She was also the voice of Elvira from Tiny Toons. Yes, I'm a TV buff. Remember Elvira from Tiny Toons? the one that loved the pets and or loved all the animals, and all the animals like hated her because she was so rough with them, but she loved them. That was Freddie Brooks, Gibbs, whatever her name was, Dr. Octavia. Anyway, so they are, talking and things like that, and she kind of got. Well, what happened was Nova confronted her and was like, what's this stunt that you pulled? Then I realized, okay, they know each other for real. And then, she kind of baited her and was like, oh, the Nova Bordelona I knew would never back down from a challenge and things like that. So she sat down with her, and then that's when she dismissed the students and things like that. So then Octavia started talking about things like, oh, do you still like this? Do you still like that? And Nova's getting ready to walk away, and it was like, whatever, I don't have time for this. And then Dr. Octavia says, one line, that's all I'm worth is one line. And then Nova turns around, and then I'm saying to myself, what the heck is going on here? Did you have like a student-teacher relationship? Isn't that like a breach of the code of conduct? Okay. So then we realized that Dr. Octavia Laurent is upset about the fact that Nova only mentioned her in her book one time. It was one sentence. And, Dr. Laurent thought that she meant more to Nova than that. So it's kind of like a woman scorned, I guess. And then we realized that, of course, they were in a relationship and they were lovers. And let's see. Character analysis alert. Yeah. Nova, this is what I wanted to say. It's really clear to me that Nova definitely has commitment issues, right? She's really for self when it comes to relationships. Like, it's all about what she can get out of it. You know what I mean? She's very self-serving. She seems a little easily detached. The cop who was married, what's her name? I don't remember her name. Chantel, her girlfriend, the one that she saw at her book signing. Remember the bald head gentleman who was also, what was he, a research journalist or something like that? My God, I thought Nova, dang girl, you hit the jackpot. Like, nope, shut him down. And now Octavia. So it seems that Nova is very detached. She definitely has commitment issues. Why? I'm sure we'll find out. She's very like, it's all about her. Like, once it's no longer beneficial to her, the relationship is no longer beneficial to her, she moves on, and she seems quite comfortable being single. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but she's had several relationships. And even when the cop that was married, remember, he was gonna leave his wife for her, and she just, I don't know. So Nova obviously has the ability to awaken something in people when she gets into these relationships, and she plans to do absolutely, nothing with it. And it's totally unfortunate. Is my lipstick like messing up, or my lip gloss? Whatever. I'm going to keep going. So they share like, a little passionate exchange, and they remind her of the way she reminds Nova of the way things used to be. Next scene is Blue and Darla. So Blue comes running through the door. Darla picks him up from school, and she's like, Blue, do you want to talk to me? And you see Ralph Angel come shortly after that. So they're sitting there, and they're just like talking, and he said, Ralph Angel's like, what the heck, what happened? So she said that she doesn't know. The only thing that he kept saying is that whatever the boy's name, his little friend, is mean to him. And she was like, oh, maybe they're just kids being kids. And Ralph Angel's like, nah, because let me tell you something. Whether that, regardless of Blue not being his biological child, you can't tell Ralph Angel that he knows Blue like the back of his hand. And I love their relationship. He loves him unconditionally. Blue loves his father unconditionally. It's truly a connection, and it is really good to see. It's just beautiful to see. So the next scene is Charley. Okay, so Charley arrives at the clinic, and she's all smiles, and she's just happy. She arrives at the mill. The clinic is in the old mill. She's excited. She sees Ignacio, who's one of the workers who's been with the family for a long time. She's just in her glory. And then ICE shows up. So ICE shows up and they raid the clinic, and Charley, she basically attempts to stop it by throwing out all this legal jargon. And they're just like, look, okay, like, don't get in the way of this, you know. And the officer said, under the current administration, this is allowed. All right, let's pause here. First of all, Ava DuVernay, bravo. Okay, and this is not a political channel whatsoever, y'all. So I'm just going to say, this basically shed light on what is going on present day in this country, America. Okay. And I thought that that was bold. I thought it was, what a way to use your platform. What a way to use your voice and your influence. Because when that officer said, listen, this is allowed under this current administration, I have legal rights to do this. Like, this is the law. And it was just like, whoa, that was really in your face. And I'm hoping that a lot of people who are watching this show are privy to what is going on in this country as far as ICE is concerned. If not, I urge you to educate yourself, because it is really embarrassing as a country and it is despicable. I'll leave it right there. So the what's his name? Romeo is asked for his papers, and you know, Charlie's like, no, you know, he's a physician's assistant. He says to Charley, no, don't worry about it. I'm used to it. Like I said, I don't something about him. I don't trust him, y'all. So Charley is outside of the detention center, and she's basically talking to one of the detention officers, trying to find out what the heck is going on. Like, how did they know about the clinic? And then he said, you know, he got an anonymous tip. Now, I thought it was the Landrys probably, you know, trying to shake things up or whatever, but apparently it's not. This is according to this officer outside the detention center, or when they were getting ready to load everyone, all the detainees up on the bus, wherever it is that they were. But he basically told Charley, like, look, you're not a fan favorite around here. Like, you see, when you stop that prison from being built, you ticked off a lot of people. Okay. And he said that, he said, you've made more enemies in a day than I made in my however long career. And I was just like, he's like, you're not a favorite around here, gal. So if it wasn't the Landrys, then who was it? All right, question. You remember the bus was across the street from where Charley was. Who was that man that was looking and then walked on the other side of the bus? I thought that was Romero at first, but then upon further, you know, like looking, I'm like, okay, that's not him. Who the heck is that guy? You got to watch every scene in here. I don't trust him. I just don't trust Romero. I'm sorry, I can't say that enough. All right, next scene is Micah. He's getting a tattoo. He gets drunk. They give him alcohol to numb the pain, which is weird because I was always taught, I have a tattoo, but I was always taught that if you drink when you have a tattoo, it's possible that you can bleed more. But whatever, this is TV, so we'll play along. So yeah, he gets drunk. His friends take him to the bathroom because he's going to puke. The next scene is Ra and Darla figuring out how they're going to be telling Blue about this situation. So they're both taking responsibility, you know what I mean? And Ralph Angel is just saying, like, you know, it's like, he can't shake his past. And Darla's like, no, you know, this is my fault. And she was kind of enticing him to stay, not in a sexual way, but she's just afraid because Blue may wake up in the middle of the night and have multiple questions. And I like the fact that Darla has so much respect for Ralph Angel, because Ralph Angel, you could tell that he just deals with Blue in a way where he really knows Blue like the back of his hand. And I just love that. And in order for you to get to know your kid, you really have to take the initiative to try to know your child. And he does. And you can just see she just has a look of admiration. I think that Darla is still in love with Blue. And, Ralph Angel. And even though she's dating, he's dating, or what have you, I think that she doesn't feel that connection with anyone else that she does with Ralph Angel. I can understand, girl. He is fine, okay? And he has a way with words. All right, so, yeah, you see Nova and Octavia and their little rendezvous. They hooked up, obviously. And Octavia is suggesting that she go on this book tour with Nova. I don't trust Octavia either. I don't trust Romeo, and I don't trust Octavia. A woman scorned. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. A woman scorned. I don't know. I don't know ulterior motives. I don't trust her. And isn't that bald guy that Nova used to date, the one with the glasses? I really liked him, Nova. You screwed that up. Ugh. Isn't he in New York? And isn't Nova's next stop New York on the book tour? Anyway, so Charley and the senator lady, I think she's Hispanic, the Hispanic senator lady, meet up. And she said, I heard about your ICE raid. I don't trust her either. So now y'all see, I don't trust Romeo, I don't trust Dr. Octavia, and I don't trust the senator lady. I just don't. So she said she heard about the ICE raid. She also said, it could have been on the news. She also said that she heard about Charlie's private investigator friend finding out about the road that the Landrys plan to build. So she said, if I heard about it, what do you think? You can be certain that the Landrys know about it. How you know about that? Anyway, if she's a private investigator, how the heck do you know about that? Anyway, she might have communication with the Landrys. They could be threatening her. I don't know. But anyway, so Charley decides to run for senator against Jacob. I saw that coming. So Charley has to make a decision because she only has like maybe 2-3 days to submit her request to run for Senate. What else do we have here? She decides to run. Charley really is, let me scroll through this. But Charley, I'm waiting for this to load. But Charley really is a fighter. Like, she doesn't back down from anything, right? I can respect it. Okay. Yeah, so I'll be interested to see how that plays out. Sorry, y'all, I had a little brain fart. Now, what happened next? Charley finds out that Micah's got a tattoo. He's only 17. She realizes that he's drunk. She probably smelled the alcohol. And she's just not feeling the decisions that he's making. She's explained to him that the decisions you make now can affect you for a lifetime. Probably reflecting on Davis and his stupid decisions, right? You see that connection there? So she ain't got time to deal with Micah. Look, you 17, you want to be grown, you're going to learn the hard way. So she told him, look, if you're not going to listen to me, please let me know who you will listen to. And she walks out. She doesn't even give him the opportunity to say anything, to reply. She just walks out. Now, this is the grand finale. Darla and Ralph Angel sit down with Blue and they have this discussion. So when Blue comes out the room, Ralph Angel's just like, hey, buddy, tell me what's going on. Do you know how hard that probably had to be for him, his character, to just put on a happy face after, his sister putting out this book, putting out his business, putting out Darla's business, exposing Blue finding out from someone at school, and he's just still like, hey, buddy, tell me what's going on. Lord, when they say nothing, I'm telling you, I don't think I need to say anything. If you guys saw that, then you know how emotional that was, and I thought that was award-winning acting. That scene was probably the best. No, it was the best acted scene in the entire episode, I feel. And he just explained to Blue, like, no, I'm not your biological father. Blue asked, what does biological mean? He explained to him. He said, but my soul is, what did he say? My soul is inside of you. He said, you see how our hearts beat the same? Look. And then he put his hand on his heart. And then he said, I chose you. What prolific words. Oh my God. That kid has got a great family. He's got a great father. He got a great mother. He has great family. You know what I mean? I chose you. My soul is inside of you. And Blue said, is that why we don't look the same? No matter what we look like, Ralph Angel said. He just kept it real with him. I chose you, you know? And I feel like he turned to his mother and said, "Are you my biological mommy?" And she said, "Yes." And she said, "Even if I wasn't, I would choose you." And, Blue was just like, "What if you choose someone else, another little boy, so innocent." And he said, "Nah, like, my soul is inside of you. Like, I'm not going anywhere, man. You my son for the rest of your life." And I just think that they handled that beautifully. And bravo to the actors and to the writers. And I literally wrote these things down as I was watching it. And it's just really amazing that it's amazing. I can put my phone down now. It's amazing that we got to see this. I think Ralph Angel handled this so beautifully, and it just made Darla, you could see that Darla like fell in love with him even more. She's still in love with Ralph Angel. And it just like a weight has been lifted off of Ralph Angel and off of Darla, because he knows now. And I just love the fact that leading up to this moment, we saw in previous episodes Prosper telling Ralph Angel, "Ain't no big deal." Prosper is a man that he knew his whole life and that he respects as like a father figure or uncle figure or whatever. He said, "Ain't no big deal. My pappy wasn't my biological father. You know what I mean? Raised me like he was his own." And then for that worker on Ralph Angel's farm or what have you, the guy that he was working with in the last episode said, "I just am glad to be working for a brother who's stepping up to the plate, even after hearing what he heard." And he said, "My biological father wasn't there for me, and I respect you." So I just feel like Ralph Angel was walking around with this badge of like, or this armor of like, you know what? I'm doing the right thing. You know what I mean? And I'm glad that they decided to tell this boy, even though they were kind of forced to, that they decided to tell this baby now, so that this can just be out, and then you can continue on with life. So it's like I said before, Nova's book her intention is good, but the execution sucked. Now I wonder, now that Ralph Angel has gotten this off his chest, now that Darla has gotten this off her chest, and they were able to say come clean with Blue, because he deserves to know the truth. And now that generation of keeping things from the kids or from everyone has kind of been broken. That little habit has been broken with Ralph Angel. I wonder if he will reach out back to Nora, because remember, she's been calling him, leaving him messages. I wonder if he will now reach out to Nova and they can begin to reconcile their relationship. I mean, as far as Ralph Angel is concerned, mission accomplished. Because nothing is going to change with Blue, because you were honest with him. You didn't keep any secrets like your father did and your grandfather did. That cycle has been broken. So don't think for a moment that Nova doesn't know what she's doing. You understand what I'm trying to say? Her intentions are pure. And I feel that she's carrying a lot of hurt herself. And I think as the season goes on, this better not be a short season, we will begin to see her unpacking some of her own bags, whether she wants to or not. Just like everything has come to a head for everyone else, and they've been forced to face their truth. Same thing's gonna happen to Nova. I believe it. So I don't trust Romeo. Who else I don't trust? I don't trust Octavia. Nova's book, we see something positive emerge from Nova's book, and I just feel like in the midst of chaos, there still can be productivity. There can still be positivity that rises from all that junk. And I'm proud of Ralph Angel. I'm so proud of the way his character handled that. Man, shout out to all the writers. Like, this show, I swear, if I was still in college, and I had to write a paper on, because I used to take a lot of psychology classes and African American Caribbean studies classes. So if I ran across if I was even a professor, I would encourage my students, maybe for an English class or a psychology class, to watch the show and write a character analysis, or I would come up with a topic. I just feel like a lot of these topics that are being touched on are very relevant to today. Like, they're not outdated notions or outdated thinking. I just feel that this show is beautifully written, and since day one, season 1, episode 1, I've been watching this show and I've been hooked, except for my little intermission with season 3. I didn't go back and watch season 3. I saw a few episodes, but you guys be keeping me up to date on what happened or what transpired or anything, and I love that about you guys. Like, anything that I'm missing or I misspeak on, you guys school me, and it's all love. So remember now, Queen Sugar is not coming back until the 24th. So next week Wednesday, whatever next week Wednesday's date is, Queen Sugar is not coming on. So this coming Wednesday, which is the 17th, Queen Sugar is not coming on. They're not coming back to the 24th. So it's good that I made this a little bit long so you can go back. Watch this in increments. Pause it. Get yourself a drink. Watch it. I told you to grab a snack. Royal Family, this is like my favorite thing to review or favorite show to review because of the feedback that I'm getting from you guys. To all of my new subscribers, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for showing love and support. For all of my existing subscribers, for real, you hold it down. I love each and every one of y'all for watching, and I'm not blowing smoke up your crown. I'm keeping it real, because once I get to the desired amount of subscribers, I said this in a few videos, I will give you my story behind why I started my YouTube channel and why it took me 2 years to start posting after I created this channel. So get down in the comments, y'all. I covered a lot. Like, I gave you character analysis. I gave you breakdown scene by scene. You know what I mean? Return the favor, y'all. You know what I mean? Get down in the comments. Give me your feedback. If there's anything that I misspoke on, be sure to correct me respectfully. What are your thoughts? Where do you think that this season is going? What about Ralph Angel? Do you think that him and Nova are going to reconcile? Do you think Nova and the family are going to reconcile? What's going to happen with Octavia and Nova? You know what I mean? Do you trust her? Do you trust Romero, whatever his name is? So be sure to thumbs up this video, Royal Family. You can check out my other content, like this video. That helps YouTube's algorithm get my video out into these YouTube streets. So show me some love. And comment. Now this, because we are going to be starved next week, and Queen Sugar's not coming back to the 24th, I expect you guys to blow up the comment section, okay? So we can interact and engage. Royal Family, this has been long. I hope you enjoyed the video. I love you for watching. And as always, peace.